Good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday, August 8th, 2018. You're at the Taylor Creek Fire and Klondike Fire Incident Command Post here in Merlin, Oregon. It's 5 a.m. We're live, and I'm your host, Kel Casey, for First Facts, live at 5. Special welcome to the Klondike folks who have been impacted by the fire, as you might have understood yesterday, but certainly understand it now. Pacific Northwest Team 2, the Type 1 team from Oregon, Washington, that's been managing the Taylor Creek Fire, is now also in charge of managing the Klondike Fire. So switch over to our Facebook page and join us for the rest of the duration of the fire. The Natchez Fire page is moving down to California to focus on that fire. Thanks for joining us, firefighters. Thanks for joining us, media. Firefighters, you know you're holding the line out there. We appreciate it. Okay, some quick facts. The Taylor Creek Fire estimated at 41,977 acres. That's up about 800 from yesterday. 38% contained with approximately 1,469 firefighters. That includes those 120 National Guard troops out there. Thanks, folks, for doing that. The soldiers and airmen for mopping up. It's a big deal for us to have your support. Thank you. Klondike Fire, around 33,000 acres. The containment went from 5% to 15%. And there's, on the plan, it says 444 personnel assigned, but in discussing with the incident commanders, it looks like it's closer to 600. So that number is a little bit higher, about 150 higher. Okay, so the big news we're going to cover today. The firing operations along the Forest Service Road 25 all the way down to the southeast corner of the fire proceed, and they're deepening, and that's our highest priority, is to provide security to these communities along the Redwood Highway, including Selma, Cave Junction, O'Brien, Applegate, Williams, Murphy, and all the infrastructure and values at risk. They're estimating that if all goes well, this deepening should occur over the next 3 days, and then it should go into more of a hold and patrol, at least on this eastern edge. So that gives you the insight there. Okay, our next big area, up on Bear Camp Road. The fire started backing on its own to the road yesterday, and then the firefight was on all afternoon and into the evening. As we've said over and over again, it's very hard to hold a fire in a valley because the rollout from above can come right down past your fire line, get established, and try to run back up at you. Now, thankfully, the backing fires have taken the energy out of the top, so it'd run into the black. But when we did have a rollout yesterday, the firefighters were able to go right down in this switchback area and catch it. And what I mean by that is digging actual direct fire line right along the edge of that fire, right up against the flames, and tuck that back in. As Incident Commander Chris Schulte says, anything that tries to pooch out today will get tucked back in. Our fallback line is the Peavine Road, and that's been prepped. Okay, big news for the boating industry, recreationalists, and everybody coming to Western Oregon for the summer. The Sheriff's Office lifted the road closures and opened the boat ramps in the rivers. So please note that some of these areas are still in level 2 and level 1. The evacuation levels, and again, level 1 is that be ready, level 2 is that be set. So there's still evacuation levels on here. There's still the evacuation level on the entire east side of the fire. And be aware that when a fire comes through the mountainsides, even at low intensity, there could be rolling rocks, trees, and debris that come down. Firefighters will be working in this area, so even though these roads have been opened and the National Guard checkpoints have been moved towards Scalise Creek Road access, that we want you to be aware. The firefighters are still in the area, their apparatus are there. Please drive slowly and be cautious. Okay, other highlights that also tie into some themes. We continue to burn out along the road, like I said here, on this east side. We continue to burn out on the Chrome Ridge to bring it down just far enough to not allow this fire to hook around and get out to the west. So these are continuing themes. The slow, meticulous, patient work of these hand crews, the Medford 10 crew, the Grayback crews, the different hotshot crews that have plugged in, the slow work in here. It's a patient job, it takes time, but when that understory burn deepens, it's really the buffer that we need right now. The Klondike Fire, again, operations in the south. We don't want you to be thinking that there's nothing happening down here. There's lots of linking going on with chipping, with tying together the lines down here, preparing on the eastern side, chipping and working on structure protection and prepping all these houses. On this side, Damon Simmons from the Oregon State Fire Marshal was in here yesterday talking about how we don't like to just have one plan as firefighters. We like to have our primary plan which is to stop the fire right here. Our alternate plan is to understand the topography and the fuel types. So if the fire were to make a little bit of a spot out here, what type of fuel it'll land in, what type of response we need to have. We also like to have all of our roads known, understood, open, and linked together. So if you're seeing equipment in there, scouting, moving around, doing that kind of work, that makes us really comfortable. We're not gonna just have one plan and not have anything to fall back on. As Damon said from the fire marshals, in an emergency plan situation, which is sort of what we had in this area for those of you who live in Pickett Creek and recall the firefight last week, then we get right behind the houses, we bring fire right down and we do our job. We get right up against the flames, we go direct, and we bring that in with fire at our backs and protect the structures. Remember, containment line is all the way around this side of the fire. We want the folks on Klondike to realize this is our highest priority, so is this other line, and that's what we're working towards. Now to support that, we have numerous pieces of technology. We have the ScanEagle drone that flies all night long. 2 nights ago, the ScanEagle found a small piece of heat just outside the line, and called the firefighters in on the radio, and they got in there to go and look at it. Last night, the ScanEagle was supporting the burnout operations. There's also an aircraft from the military that's higher above the ScanEagle that can run in 2-hour missions. There's a JTAC, there's a person on the ground. This is a military asset used overseas that we also use on fires. And the JTAC can call in the ship and ask it to check with very precise mapping patterns. It's flying at 30,000 feet with very intense cameras, with a pilot on board that's not unmanned, that's a military aircraft with a pilot, and looking at the fire growth to understand how many days will it take for it to back down, how quickly is it moving, and this is technology that allows us to see through that smoke. We also have the smaller drones that have been used extensively to secure the the Lease Creek and Taylor Creek areas. This is now in complete mop-up mode, and those small drones allowed firefighters over the last 72 to 96 hours to do a lot more work in there, a lot more safely, and secure this. We're gonna see, look at that, black line all the way around to here. We'll continue to see that up and down. We know that the boat community really wants to get into this area. We're working very hard to mop it up. We'll keep you posted. It's gonna be a few more days. It does take time. Okay, answering your questions. So we talked about the level 1. Some folks have been writing us on Facebook, and we do appreciate neighbors helping neighbors, answering questions, but we also want to address the big themes. Your sheriff from Josephine County has stated at every community meeting that in Southwest Oregon, and you can probably relate to this more and more now, from May into November, he considers you to be in a level 1, at least mentally, being prepared, understanding that we're in record dry fuels. The herbaceous fuels, the bushes that are out there in the landscape, only have 20% of their live fuel moisture right now. The trees only have about 75%. That's an average that puts it at near historic or at historic. We're in a hot and dry pattern. We saw 100 degrees in the valleys, 20% RH, and that's increasing. We're only at the first part of August. So we're well ahead of our hot and dry schedule, and your sheriff, in an abundance of caution, is keeping the level 1 on as much as for his reasons as also the overall theme that we're still in fire season. We'd like to see those go to 0, but we also understand his philosophy. For structure protection and prep, that's what we do when there's an emergency, but we encourage you to take initiative now and do it on your own and consult with your fire district, look at the FireWise websites, and take actions around your home. Pull the wood piles away from your house if you haven't already. Look at blowing the leaf litter out of your gutters. Limb your lower trees. Look at watering your lawn a little bit more if you can and sprinkle it up and green it up. Those are just best practices in general. Who knows what is going to cause the next fire, whether it's lightning, whether it's a human mistake, or some other just completely random event. Okay. Donations. We've had a lot of questions about this. How do we support the firefighters? We all know they're out there doing their best, working hard. We're very proud of you if you're watching tonight from Bear Camp Spike or out on the line, out at Agnes and the other contingency camps. What we recommend for folks to do is make donations to their local fire department. They're the ones that are here all year round. We essentially come in as their strong force to support them. But when it actually is initial attack and extended attack, it's your local resources, your local fire department that really deserve your support. These camps that we have here and over in Selma for the Klondike and over in Agnes for our contingency group and over at Bear Camp for our Spike, we're fully supported. We have all the food, the water, the clothing that we need. Your local fire department could use your donations. And we also recommend, if you're thinking about firefighters, to donate to the Wildland Firefighter Foundation. If one of us were to get hurt out there, that foundation is the trusted source of immediate response and support to the family, immediate cash help for any injuries, fatality, or anything. And we really stand behind them. They have a 52-week-a-year program, and we recommend and you look at least into it and consider it. Watch out, situation number 14. The weather getting hotter and drier. That's the pattern we're in right now. We still have the inversion, so the incident meteorologist is saying that there'll be little changes in the wind today, and the inversion conditions will stay the same, but that's going to result, of course, in a lot of smoke. That inversion holds the smoke in. That does shade the fire. It does work on our behalf, but it's going to be a smoky day. I know it's impacting me. It's impacting all of you. It's impacting the whole region. We understand that. We're trying to avoid having high-intensity burns that can put up even more smoke. That big, black, thick, extreme columns, we're not seeing those out here as much. We're seeing the low intensity. We're showing you videos of that. And later this week, we're going to try to show you some of the fire effects as well. Again, neighbors helping neighbors is one of the themes we've seen in this community. It's an honor to serve. This is episode 10 of 14. This team is going to be traveling out of the fire area on Monday. We'll be going to our different homes to reset. We'll have 4 more editions of this, and we want to clarify which Facebook page to follow. So if you are following the Klondike and Natchez Facebook information page, that is now, I changed the title of that yesterday to Natchez Fire. That team needs to focus on that group of folks in your happy camp. We want you to move over to the Taylor Creek Fire page. I've applied for Facebook to change the name so it reads Taylor Creek and Klondike Official Fire Information. Facebook takes 72 hours to make that happen. They allowed Natchez for me to change that name instantly, so they put a hold on our page, probably because we have so much engagement, probably because so many of you are involved in watching the videos and responding, and they just want to make sure that nobody's trying to hack in and change the name. So as soon as Facebook approves, you're going to see the link change and you're going to see the name change. The support you've been showing Green Pants Nation is amazing. I got a chance to go out in the community yesterday to do some shopping and go to Rogue Barbers and get my hair cut with Ron. Ron, thanks for the warm friendship, the gentleman across the way, the conversations that we're having about fire in general, preparedness, the gratitude you're showing us. We pass right on to the firefighters. They're out there right now. They're holding that line, and we appreciate your support. Join us again tomorrow morning. We'll be posting all throughout the day, trying to show you more of the fire effects. And again, your questions mean a lot to us. Let us know how we can serve you. Thank you.